It's Friday, isn't it?
Isn't it Friday? we were just giving Bubbers some catnip a second ago, so he might get feisty.
Might get a little feisty.
You
That's
guys,
okay.
you guys can just enjoy that. Look at him. Look at the light shining up on his face.
He's beautiful.
He's glorious. Happy Friday, guys. I must be really tired because we sat down and I looked at Mark and I'm like, what are we doing for this episode?
We're a little sleepy today.
What was our topic today? Was it Etsy myths? Was it what are we talking about? No, it's Etsy time wasters. And when's the last time we did this? Etsy time wasters as our theme?
Oh, it's been a while.
Over a year?
I think it's been over a year, maybe a little under.
Yeah. And we've done this topic in the past, but I always try to revisit topics because, we get new audience members. Some of you have found us in the last year. I think it's actually been over a year. And I always add things to these lists, and there's always additional insight that can be added as the years go on because things change, Etsy changes. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is going to be more in the style of some of our older episodes of the Friday Bean, where we're just kind of going through, our personal lists and thoughts of these time wasters. I do definitely recommend that, you take note of these if you're, I know that a lot of you like to write things down because a lot of these, I know for a fact you do. Because I watch you guys. You follow me on social media. I see some of the things that you guys do.
We see what you get up to.
We see what you're up to. And, I'm not the type who's going to comment and tell you hey, maybe this isn't the best way to do this. Though some of you, I'm sure, would want me to, but others, probably wouldn't. And I feel like a lot of the times when I create these lists, it's almost like all these pent up thoughts that I haven't been able to express because I've been like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I can just kind of put them into a big video. And then hopefully if you're doing any of these things, you can be like,
stop.
Right. You'll be like, oh, that was me. Oops. Oopsie, that was me. So yeah, that is what we're doing today. Before we get started, I did want to make a couple of super duper quick announcements. First announcement is that the eRank listing helper, our new AI tool. We are, I believe, still accepting beta testers for that, but make sure that if you are currently a beta tester on that new tool, that you are also submitting your feedback about it by clicking that little blue help button in the bottom right corner and messaging our team and letting them know your thoughts, or if you have suggestions about it. Beta testing is just that. You sign up for early access so that you can provide that feedback. That's why we need beta testers. So it's not just get early access to it. It's get early access to it in return for, letting us know. And if you think that it's great and you don't have any suggestions, that's fine too. You can say, this is great. I don't have any critiques at all. But we really do need that feedback to make sure that the tool is perfect before we launch it to the public. I do explain how to do that and how to sign up in my video that I made, I think 2 weeks ago, where the thumbnail, it says instant Etsy listings or something like that. So go watch that video if you need help signing up for the beta test. It's super easy. Other than that, Handmade Alpha Academy is going to be opening on June 14th. That is my That's my self-paced Etsy coaching program. It's a 9-module course that is going to cover A to Z, how to take and build, market, and brand your Etsy shop step by step. Sorry, I'm not awake yet, guys.
Yeah, you're not.
I took a nap this morning because I was just so sore from doing our garden all day yesterday. But that's open from June 14th through the 24th. The program is self-paced, but we keep that enrollment window tight because it's just Mark and I. We don't have any virtual assistants or anything helping us. So we want to make sure that we don't end up with 6,000 people joining at the same time, because we would never be able to answer all of your emails and help you. So there's that. We are happy to answer questions about Handmade Alpha Academy at the end. We want to make sure that if you're thinking about enrolling, that you're getting all of your questions answered. And my favorite place to answer those questions is live. I really hate answering emails. I mean, who loves emails, really? Who's like,
this email reaches you well?
Yeah, I love answering emails.
How
No,
the email reached me.
I would prefer to chat with you guys one-on-one.
Yeah.
Last announcement is we're still doing our charity for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It is somewhere on the chat. We're up to $376, so that's awesome. Starting in June, we will probably shift, maybe do like the Trevor Project or something because it's Pride Month. So we'll probably shift charity since we've raised so much already in the last few weeks for the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. I'd like to pivot and pick, different charities. We try to change it up every few months so that we're raising a lot of money for, specific charities. So, but other than that, guys, I'm ready to jump in. Did we have any?
No questions.
No questions.
It started a little slow. Did we send an email today?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you guys get my email?
Did you guys get the email?
Did you guys get my email? Did you get my memo? YouTube's been
a little
short.
Slow today.
YouTube's been short in general. All of my videos, they haven't been like performing the way that.
True. Only the last video was slow. The other 3 before that were huge.
Yeah, but all of the other YouTubers right now, I'm watching like their analytics as well, and nobody seems to be doing great right now. And I think it's because it's warm outside. Nobody wants to be inside watching YouTube. Okay, so let's jump in. A lot of these are going to be duh moments for those of you who have been around for a while, but
remember, somebody's dull moment is somebody's epitome. So
right. There are plenty of people who are new here who don't know all of these, and hopefully, even if you have been around for a while, hopefully there's some of these that you haven't heard before. But the first one is renewing your listings every day to get that boost. This is so outdated. I think Pam pinpointed it to like it became outdated in like 2008 or 2007, something ridiculous. Like, no, it wasn't that old. I don't even think Etsy's that old. 2010, maybe? I can't remember. But anyway, the premise of this is that if you go into all of your listings on the back end in your listings tab and you click to select all of them and you pay the 20 cents to renew them, but you do that every single day, you'll be able to ride that boost that Etsy gives to new listings in search.
Don't work like that anymore.
It used to work back before the algorithm was polished, and
it was a hot trick.
Yeah. Lots of Etsy coaches would say to do it. And there unfortunately are still Etsy coaches who say to do it because they are living in the past and haven't been keeping up with how Etsy's algorithm works. But basically, if you're paying that 20 cents to get that boost continuously, and people still aren't interacting with that listing, because the boost is really just that. It's a window for Etsy to see how the potential customers are going to interact with that listing. If nobody's interacting with it in that time period and it's just floating around, Etsy's going to notice that, despite the fact that we've boosted it, it's not doing well. So we're going to lower it and lower it and lower it and lower it until you're not ranking well at all. It's just not a good strategy, especially when you already have listings that are selling well, because it's a good way to, basically tell Etsy that, hey, this listing isn't as interesting as we thought that it was, and we should show it to less people. So, and not only that, but if you've got a lot of listings, I mean, can you imagine how expensive? So don't renew your listings every day. Now, if your automatic renewal date comes up, that's great. That's a good renewal. If your listing sells and, listings always renew after a sale, that's great. That's an awesome renewal. Etsy loves those renewals. Etsy takes note that, this listing sold. That means that people are interested in it. We need to make sure that we're showing it to more people. Or if you make big changes to your tags and titles and you want Etsy to kind of recognize those changes a little faster, sure, you could renew, that one listing just to let Etsy know, hey, pivot in what we want to be known for. I now want to be known for this. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, and we do have evidence to believe that it'll help Etsy kind of notice the changes a little faster. That's totally fine. Just don't sit there and renew all of your listings nonstop in order to try to game the system. Anything that feels like you're trying to game Etsy's system is probably going to land you in trouble, and
or just be a waste of time.
Exactly. And this just happens to be something that is both a waste of time, a waste of money, and it's also bad for your shop. So
please do not repeat your questions. We are not answering questions at this very moment.
Yep. We will answer questions at the end. But we want to keep going through the topics. That way you guys have optimal time at the end to ask them. Next one is typing your keywords into the Etsy search bar to find your search ranking. And most of you know this already. You can't do that. There's a layer of personalization that gets applied to every shopper. So I always have people who say, I can't find my listings anywhere. Well, no, because you're not the ideal shopper for your own listings, and Etsy recognizes that. Etsy's going to show you the things that they think that you're most likely going to buy. And, maybe you only buy purple things, and Etsy's noticed that everything that you buy is purple. They're only going to show you things purple stuff. That's a wild example, but
Yeah, it's a little specific.
Right. But it's just kind of an example of how machine learning works. It follows you around. It identifies what you're interested in, and then it tries to give you more things closely related to your interests. So that layer of personalization gets put on every search. It does not matter if you are logged out. It does not matter if you are using an incognito window. It does not matter if you are using a VPN. Nothing that you can do will strip all personalization. It is IP specific.
Yep.
And even if you're using a VPN, you still have an IP address. It's just somewhere else in the world. You're seeing things that are catered to, if you put your VPN in Australia, you're just seeing whatever Etsy recommends to new Australian users, So it's a big waste of time. What you need to be doing if you want to check your rank and your position in search before that layer of personalization is applied, we get that data at eRank directly from Etsy's API. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube that say, oh, eRank's rank checker's garbage. It's not accurate. It doesn't work. Again, it's people who don't understand how Etsy's algorithm works. What we show you is direct from Etsy, where you would be in search before the layer of personalization. And what that tells us is that you have optimized that listing to the very, very best of your abilities for the keywords you want to be known for if you are ranking, on, we'll say, page 1 position like 5. If you are ranking on pages 1, 2, or even 3, I dare say, your listing is probably pretty well optimized for the keywords that you're trying to be known for. And this is a good baseline, because if you're trying to decide what listings you want to edit, or maybe which listings need work, you don't want to focus on the ones that are already doing well. You want to focus on the ones that could actually use a little bit of help. Maybe they're showing way back on page 20. Those are the listings you want to work on. So this is a really great tool to see an average, right? Where on average your listing would be for most shoppers, assuming that they're a part of your target audience. A lot of people say the tool isn't useful anymore, that it hasn't been useful ever since Etsy started with personalization, but those are just people who don't understand how to use the tool. Like I always say, you can't expect to brew a latte with a hammer. Yes, it is a tool, but if you do not use the tool correctly, it's a pointless tool. You can't brew a latte with a hammer. If you're not using the hammer correctly, you're not making the most of the hammer. So don't type your keywords into the Etsy search bar to see where you land. It's a pointless, time-wasting activity, and the rank checker at eRank will literally give you that information from Etsy's API. So, and I believe that's the only way that you're even able to see that information, unless you know how to, get into Etsy's API, which who the heck has time to figure out all that out. Next one, like ladders. That's where, in the Etsy groups, people will say, I'm going to post my listing, and then everybody under me has to like my listing. And then anybody who posts under me, everybody under them has to like their listing so that we all get a boost. Like, are you okay by that? That's
Toots Boots.
Oh.
You gave her the catnip. Now she's crazy. That's
not how Etsy search works. Likes that are coming from social media, that are coming off platform, Etsy knows that those are gameable, right? We can send all of our friends to like our listings. We can send a bunch of people from a Facebook group to like our listings. So in search, those likes don't mean anything. They're not helping to boost your listing. Now, what Etsy does like is when someone is organically shopping for something, maybe they type in, I don't know, a white phone case, and they're going through all the different phone cases. I didn't show it. I've got my ID in my phone
I was about to say that was almost a really stupid mistake.
I put my hand over it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But if they're searching for a white phone case and you are selling a white phone case, and somebody has typed those exact keywords into the search bar, and you have those keywords in your listing, and they find you and like your listing or heart your listing because they found you for that keyword search, that's a good metric. That tells Etsy that they were searching for a white phone case, they found your white phone case, and they liked it based on that search. So that is a positive metric. sending all of your friends to go like your listing, Etsy can identify that that traffic came off platform. It's probably not going to help you as much. Sales from social media and external sources help you, because that's at the end of the day, they're happy that they made money. But just sending people to like your listings doesn't do anything. So it's a big waste of time. Next one is kind of related to that. Link spamming your products into non-niche Etsy groups. So an example of a non-niche Etsy group would be like on Facebook, Etsy sellers only, or Etsy sellers promote listings group. Or I think that there's one
those are such a silly waste of time.
Right. Etsy. Do you think that there are shoppers who see Etsy sellers promote listings group and get excited to join that? No, it's only sellers. It's just a bunch of sellers in there, and they're not spending time looking through the other listings. They're just all you're doing is spamming your link. There aren't any buyers in there. You are looking for buyers in a place where buyers are not. It is not a good way to advertise, and it's a waste of time. Now, what you can do, I need a tissue. What you can do is find niche specific groups. So can you grab my box of tissues over there on the table? For example, Amber Marie, who we use for all of our examples, she does pet portraits, and she can print pet portraits on a number of different products like cards and mugs and blankets, all different, different dog portraits. Now, maybe she does a line of corgi products, and she has corgi blankets and corgi mugs, and she joins a group specifically for corgi owners. And she's like, hey, I've got these really cool products in my Etsy shop. Come check them out. As long as she's not violating any group rules and that group allows that type of advertising, that is a great way to find a niche that specifically wants the type of product that you're selling. I'm in a Shiba Inu group, and it's just all crazy Shiba Inu people. And every once in a while, an Etsy seller will come in and say, hey, I've got this really cool Shiba Inu, needle felted sculpture. I can make your dog if you send me a picture. And it really, really does help, because those types of posts get tons of interactions because it's very niche specific. So avoid spamming your Etsy links. And if you are in a group that is niche specific, don't just post a link and have, that little thumbnail will populate from the link. Don't do that. Post a unique photo that you've taken of your product. Actually upload a photo and then attach that link to your caption. Don't just spam your link in there. You need to actually tell them what you do, why they should care, why it's relevant. Maybe, your inspiration, if it's relevant to the niche. Maybe you say, I was going through a hard time in 2012 and I taught myself how to do this craft and I want to share it with you. That would be a way to kind of showcase your products without just spamming somebody else's group. Other big one that I've been seeing more and more frequently that people just don't understand is going in and reporting sellers who are creating products that, have copyright trademark themes. There is nothing that you as a seller are able to do when it comes to reporting those shops, because only the IP holder, the owner of that intellectual property, can file a legitimate claim because it is their property.
You're just getting yourself upset and working into nothing.
Exactly. It's a waste of time to try to speak on behalf of another company. Etsy is not going to pay attention to those reports because you do not own that copyright. Etsy needs to hear from the owner of that. Just like, you can't file a lawsuit on behalf of somebody else. You have to do that for yourself.
And Etsy
right?
doesn't do it, but other platforms will penalize you for fraudulent copyright claims, like Facebook. If you try to claim copyright material on Facebook, or you try to claim a photo as your own, if it's not a photo of you, Facebook will give you a strike for that.
Yeah. So, and I see it in Etsy groups all the time where someone will post a link to a shop. This shop selling Disney shirts. Everybody in the group, go report them. Yes, it's annoying that they do that, but what you're doing is wasting everybody's time, not just your own. There are legitimate ways to report sellers if they are violating copyright, but it's the IP holder, the owner of that copyright, that needs to do that. And they do. Disney does it. I know it doesn't seem like it because there's so many Disney listings, but I've created videos on this. A lot of times Disney watches these shops until they've actually accumulated a number of sales so that they have a decent case against that shop to say, you've made this much money from my property. Now I'm here to cash in.
Miranda made a good point, and you don't know for sure that they don't have an agreement with the company that you're copyright striking. You have no idea what kind of agreement. I mean, maybe somebody's selling Disney stuff and they reached out. Maybe they're a millionaire who just happens to decide that they want to open an Etsy shop and they license with Disney. Right. You have no idea, and there's no way for you to know.
Right. Disney's a hard one because Disney's like millions of dollars.
Yeah. It's probably not a thing on Etsy. That was just a really stupid example, but it's possible.
Right. And that's like Sarah Maas, author of Court of Thorns and Roses, Throne of Glass, and Crescent City. Her licensing is very easy to obtain. You do have to continuously pay her per sale, but it's a really cool thing that she does for, businesses who want to work for her or her publishers. You can get a license to sell merchandise based on her books relatively easily. Now, obviously, you're going to be losing a cut of your profits because you do have to pay, I think, per item that you sell. But there are companies that you can license with. They're just not going to be like top tier Disney, NFL, big
NFL's
sports teams.
another real big one that people get in trouble for a lot.
The NFLs, I looked it up for one of the videos that I did, and the NFL is crazy what they require.
It's like $1 million per product, right? Something like that.
It's ridiculous. I can't remember, but I cover it in one of my videos that I did on copyright. It's crazy. So yeah. Next one is one that we talked about, I believe 2 weeks ago on the Friday Bean when we did, optimizing an Etsy listing live. But I see a lot of people who will run out of space in their tags, and then they'll try to put all of those keywords into their materials. Etsy doesn't look at your materials.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Your materials are for your customers.
It's for categorization.
Well, and your materials are for your customers. If they've got allergies, they need to be able to see what goes into your products. Nobody's seeing those except for your customers. So if you're just putting a bunch of keywords in there, it's not only is it going to be confusing to them, it's probably going to be frustrating if they're trying to see if they've, got an allergy to a certain metal and you sell jewelry and you've just got it filled with keywords. Great gifts for mom. Like, it just makes you look amateur. So don't do that. It's a waste of space. It's probably not going to hurt your Etsy shop, but it definitely is going to hurt perceptions from customers if they were to notice it. Next one is one that we talk about a lot, and I see it more and more. I've been talking to a lot of big, Etsy YouTubers trying to kind of, I don't know. I get a lot of people who say, well, this happened to me, so it must be the case for everybody. And I have to kind of like backtrack everybody. Using anecdotal evidence or listening to anecdotal evidence from others. Basically, when a seller says, I did this in my shop, therefore this is the standard, or this is how Etsy works, or this, Etsy says that goes this way. Etsy says this is how it is, but I experienced something different in my shop, so Etsy's lying. Which
is something that a lot of the YouTube coaches do.
Right.
A lot of them are just like, here's what I do in my shop. It'll work for you.
Exactly. And that's not how Etsy works, because as a seller, we all have little behind the scenes things that unfortunately we can't see, but that Etsy can see. Listing quality scores, customer and marketplace experience score. Those are the two big ones. So, some of these sellers who make tons and tons and tons of sales, they can get away with some crazy stuff because they're bringing in Etsy money. And, sometimes a little ripple that wouldn't affect a small shop affects a bigger shop in a big way. Or a big shop will do something or run some type of advertising or do something to advertise their product, but because they already have a large audience, of course it's going to work for them. That doesn't mean that it's something that's going to work for smaller sellers. Anecdotal evidence or evidence that, is from a survey of one is not scientifically conclusive. What you have to look at is the grand scale and not feed into drama that, where people say Etsy's lying, Etsy's lying. In what way would it benefit Etsy to lie about things that are going to help to make you money?
Yeah, That doesn't make any sense at all, because if you make money, they make money.
Exactly. Etsy's goal is to make money. They're a business.
And they have shareholders to keep happy. That's another whole step.
And yes, sometimes they do things that I think are stupid, like putting, if you make so many sales super duper quickly, they'll, take you out of search until you get caught up on shipping your orders because they worry that you're not going to be able to keep up.
I would like that if it was manually reviewed, but there's no way for them to do that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but they tell us they do it. It's not like it's a surprise.
If we think you can't keep up with your orders, we'll slow you down.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like, in theory, it makes sense, right?
Now, Etsy always has things that we don't like, but you have to look at everything scientifically. And one of the things that Pam and I talked about yesterday during the eRank Q&A that we do every week is that a lot of the times this type of content gets sensationalized because it's catchy.
Yeah,
how I made 6,000 sales yesterday, and you can too. How to hack the Etsy algorithm, how to do.
It sounds great. Like, well, yeah, I'd love to make 50 grand tomorrow. Like, cool, yeah.
But how often do you watch those videos and then walk away with knowledge that has helped you to make the money or the sales that they say?
Never. Literally almost never.
YouTube is its own algorithm. And when we sensationalize things and create crazy thumbnails and things, that's the type of content that people attempt to digest. Now, for example, last week I did a video on how to use eRank. I thought that it was a very good video. I worked really hard on it. It was a walkthrough on how to use eRank, the dashboard and the keyword tool, and it didn't do that great because it's not as catchy and fun. You have to, when you get in the habit of learning, as a new seller, everybody's going to click on those videos on how to make $1 million tomorrow.
You're going to go, there's phases of being an Etsy seller, for
exactly.
sure.
And everybody starts there, but don't stay there. Don't stay in the sensational side, because that is not where, you have to consider that those YouTubers are trying to make their equivalent of sales, which is to get people to watch so that they can make their ad revenue. They're going to try to make that video as catchy as possible, and it might lack the substance. And you guys, that's something that you guys can experience for yourself. That's not me just crapping on other YouTubers. You guys know that because you've seen those videos. And then there are the videos that are more specific and not as flashy, and maybe it's something that you don't understand or you've never heard of. But those are the questions that you need to be asking yourself. For example, and how to use eRank step by step. That doesn't sound all that fun and flashy, but understanding how to use eRank might help me to reach, my goal. Or, I didn't know I needed a Pinterest marketing strategy, but maybe that is what I need for my business. That doesn't sound super flashy.
Something that can get you going down the road of being analytically minded. Most people aren't. When you start out, and we know that it's a big issue, especially looking at something like eRank, because we get so many things that people are like, I don't understand how to use eRank. And it's because it's not a tool that just says, do this. It's a tool where you kind of have to use your brain, and you have to get yourself going down that path of figuring out what's going to work best for you using the data provided to you.
Yeah.
And watching little videos that don't seem fun is kind of a way to get yourself started down that road. Hearing how other people use the tool, you can develop your own strategies to use it for you.
I see it like this. There's a difference.
Allergies are bad.
There's a difference between people, growing up. Like, think about watching, I don't know, Jersey Shore versus watching like the Discovery Channel or Planet Earth. Sure, everybody likes a little bit of drama every once in a while. Everybody likes to watch something that's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody is going to indulge in their form of that, whether it be, Jerry Springer or R.I.P. Jerry Springer. But, everybody's going to find that little piece of drama that they like to, peek in on. But if that becomes the majority, you're probably not learning. So making sure that you are spending a majority of your time, and it doesn't need to be watching us on YouTube. It could be reading books. It could be, reading a business book. I've got lists of tons of them that I suggest. It could be listening to, finding a genius that you love, top industry guru, and listening to their podcast, whatever it may be. make sure that you are balancing your diet of what you're consuming and not just eating the candy.
It's really easy to go down the brainless content route.
Because it's entertaining.
Yeah, it's way more entertaining. And the hopeful thought of, oh, this person made $100,000 on over the Christmas holiday using this one crazy Etsy trick.
Maybe it'll rub off on me.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful, and maybe it will. But it's like being hit by lightning. Like the chances are pretty low, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Next one is accommodating difficult customers or custom orders. You don't have to do custom orders forever. I know that for a lot of you, it's like, yes, this is my big money maker, because everybody loves a custom product. But if you're one of those businesses where you're making decent sales, or you get to the point where you're making decent sales, I like to use Amber Marie as an example. Amber Marie sketches pet portraits, and she has drawn like thousands of dog breeds. She has thousands of portraits that are ready to go to print on anything. If you have, a gray tabby cat that kind of looks like Bubbers, you can get a gray tabby. You can actually get Bubbers' picture in her shop, and he looks like most gray tabby cats, and it will look like your cat, right? She offers those, but she also took commissions where you could get your pet drawn. And after a while, she realized this ain't worth it. She's already working nonstop on printing and shipping her products, and the idea of drawing more when she already had such a vast library, she decided to stop doing that. It is okay to reach a point where you say, I'm not going to accommodate these anymore because I've grown past this. And you'll know when you're there, because you'll start dreading those orders when they come in. But the other part of that is accommodating a difficult customer. That customer who messages you with, well, how about, what if we did it this way? Well, can you ship this tomorrow?
You worked with them for like 3 weeks to customize this product, and they get it and leave a 3-star review. And you're like, what the heck?
Right. Like, oh, can you box this up and get it? I need this in my mailbox tomorrow. You are allowed to fire your customers.
Yes, you can say no.
You are absolutely allowed to say no. Or if you have a customer who is driving you crazy and they place that order anyway, you can refund that customer and say, unfortunately, I am unable to fulfill your request at this time. You can do that. You don't really even need to have a reason.
You don't got to be mean about it.
No.
You don't necessarily have to be nice about it, but you don't have to be mean about it.
Send them to a competitor you don't like.
Just say no thank you. Cancel the order and say no thank you.
And I know that, for a lot of us, that feels really weird, because it's like, wow, I thought the objective was to make money. But sometimes the customers, you get a bad feeling, or they're more of a liability.
That whole the customer's always right thing that's not how this works here.
Right. If they're actually causing you, issues to your mental health, if they're bullying you, if they have...
That's a big one. That's a real big one. That was one real big thing that we had to deal with people, the entitled customer mindset.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You are here for me. I am buying it from you. I am giving you my money. You owe me. And you don't have to let them bully you like that. And I know some of you go through that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You are allowed to say no, and I'm not going to do that.
That's the difference between the fact that you're an Etsy seller, not a corporate company who has an obligation to sell something regardless of whether or not they want to.
Yeah.
You have a choice.
Because it sets a standard. Then they keep coming back. They know that they can bully you, and then they come back to bully you some more on their next order. And, can I get a discount? Can I get this for 50% off?
No.
Like, just, you don't.
But I've bought so many things from you. I don't care.
Right. We don't have a punch card like the coffee shop.
Right. You can be personable. You can have your VIP lists and your avenues to do nice things for people, but doesn't have to apply to everyone who comes to your store.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one is link spamming on social. We kind of touched on this for Etsy groups, but I see it on my friends list as well.
Yeah, quit.
The second that somebody lists a new product on Etsy, they'll just grab the link and post it on Facebook, not add any context or anything. They just post it. I don't want to see that. I'm not going to click on that. I'm not going to go look at that. Tell me what you did. So post an actual photograph of what you've created. Tell me a story about it. Tell me why I should care. Just posting your links on social media, you're not doing anything that is compelling me to actually investigate further. It's a waste of time. Make sure that you're actually adding a little bit of value to the content that you're creating. Another big one and I mainly see this on your Instagrams, but also your Facebook accounts. You guys will ask me a question, or I'll see a question posted in one of the groups, and I want context. I want to see your shop. So I will go to your personal profile and look in your bio to see if on your personal profile on Facebook, if you've linked your Etsy link in there, or if you have tagged yourself as like working at, and then maybe your business page where I can follow that and find your shop link. Some of your shops are impossible to find, even when I'm on your business accounts, because you don't have your bios filled out with your links in there. I do that all the time on your Instagram.
Happens a lot.
On our, where we feature shops almost every week on our YouTube videos, our Tuesday uploads, I will go through and have to skip several of you because there is no link in your bio.
There's no way to find it. And the name isn't exactly how it is on Etsy, so it's impossible without having to go through every combination of ways to spell and do things.
Yeah, and your customers aren't going to go through that.
No, they're not going to do that. They're going to search it once, and if they can't find it, they're going to go away.
Or you paste your link to a listing in your Instagram caption. And Instagram's not like Facebook. You can't just put a link down in your little captions.
Can't click it.
They're not clickable, yeah. So you have to have that in your bio. Just make sure that anytime you show a product, you're telling people how they can acquire it. Here's the link. If you're on Facebook, here's the link to buy this. If you're on Instagram, get this via the link in my bio. Click the link in my bio. For me, for the Friday Bean, for example, I always say, type Starla Moore on YouTube or click the link in my stories, because for that 24-hour period, there will always be a link before the Friday Bean in my stories that you can click on. There are so many ways to do it, but make sure that you are always adding a link, because people are not going to go track that down.
Pam said the best I ever felt was when I realized I don't want you to own my art and canceled the customer. Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have a little bit of pride in your art. I'm going to take him upstairs because I know he's going to jump up.
That's fine. Yeah, you do not deserve to own an original Pam Duthie design. I mean, I know that sounds, I'm sure that for a lot of you that probably sounds harsh, but for those of you who have dealt with customers like that, you understand. And I hope that, those of you who haven't dealt with a customer like that, I hope that you never do. But it really is draining on you, and you will hit a point where you can't tolerate it. Even those of you who say that you have a high tolerance, it does start to wear on you after a while. Next one is one that I see a lot for newbies on Instagram. How many of you get, every time you post something, you get a gazillion comments that say, DM it on,
oh my God,
get featured on, hey, I'd love to feature your product, send pic to, like, every time you post on Instagram, you get a million spam comments about send it to, DM it on, send it on, tag it in, blah, blah, blah. First of all, what I like to do is go into my Instagram settings, into my blocked words list. And anytime they use a new combination of words in the, because they all use the same words, DM it on, I just go block those combination of words. No legit customer is going to say, DM it on in their comments. Yeah, no soup for you. You can set a bunch of blocked words and they'll find ways around it. They'll add in emojis and it's an endless nightmare. My biggest suggestion is to just go and delete all those comments. You can block the accounts if you notice the same ones that are, posting, but it doesn't matter what industry.
It's everybody, everywhere, every social media platform. We get it on YouTube, we get it on Instagram, we get it on Facebook. We get it everywhere. It's not going to stop until they start doing ID verification for social media. And unfortunately, people think that's a privacy issue. So that's going to be a while. Yeah.
And I've got it. I mean, even on my Instagram for my book, which is a science fiction book, it's like DM it on authors only. Or I'll get one, on his band Instagram where I'm posting pictures of his band. It'll be like DM it on Bands for Life. Like, it doesn't matter what you sell or what you do. There is somebody who is going to attempt to get you to pay for promotional BS. Just ignore those. They're not real. No actual people are following them. A lot of them they have inflated likes and follower counts because it's click traffic. It's bot traffic. I mean, so just ignore all of them. They're going to be on every platform.
It's bots.
Yeah.
Until they require ID verification to start accounts, I didn't go anywhere.
Next one is trying to reproduce marketing that doesn't fit your niche. This is a big one. I always use this example because I created I created with my first business these super ornate skeleton key necklaces. And I saw this idea for marketing. I think it was from like a colorful like gel pen company where they did an fudge sale and they had all their colorful pens with like fudge laying all around them. And I thought that that was a really cute idea. So I did a flat lay like that with my, my jewelry, and the marketing photos turned out great. I had an fudge sale and it looked really nice, but there was a lack of connection there, like fudge and candy, and then fantasy theme, big dragon skeleton keys. There was no congruency in the marketing. And while the actual idea was a good idea for the brand I saw do it, it didn't translate to me. So sometimes it's great to follow other businesses and see what they're doing, but you should also attempt to adapt the things that they do in a way that fits your niche in particular, because not everything is going to transfer over. Or you can follow some of your competitors and see some of the ways that they, do their marketing and use tactics that are already tried and true for like big brands. If you create silver jewelry, follow Tiffany & Co. See what they're doing. Don't try to reproduce Tiffany & Co.'s, exact photos, but if you see something that they're doing that looks really nice, maybe with their photography style, that's something that you could try out for your own brand because you guys are in the same niche. Next one is a big one. Making every single thing that your friends, family, or followers ask you to make.
Don't do it.
Oh, this would be a good idea.
Oh no, it's never a good idea.
Oh, you could make this. Oh, I love that you make handbags. Have you thought about making wallets? Have you thought about making keychains? Have you thought about making purse clips? Have you thought about making necklaces? Have you thought about making earrings? Don't listen to every single suggestion. Sometimes if you hear a lot of people asking for the exact same thing, that's when you want to take note. But there have been so many occasions in my own businesses, all of my businesses, where people have asked me for things and I've done what they asked. And then nobody, not even the person who asked for the thing, ended up purchasing the thing. And then I've got the stock of this stupid thing that I didn't want to make, that they didn't actually want. They just thought that they were being helpful. They wanted to help. And we see that a lot with friends and family where they just want to help. They just want to contribute. But they don't know anything about your business. They don't know about your target audience. They don't know about your followers. And they don't know what is going to actually do well in your shop. So, always be polite. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll add it to my idea list. I have a big growing list of ideas. I'll add it to my list.
Nah, just send him that Bugs Bunny no meme where he
No. Yeah,
That's what I do.
You don't have to listen to all of them. And then the last one is one that we had someone ask about last week, so I figured we'd toss it onto the list. Accommodating every single charity that messages you and asks you for, can you send me a product for a raffle for, my kids' softball team? And like they live 12 states away.
No. Why would I do that?
So I understand, they're trying to pull at your heartstrings, but not all of them are legit. For two, even if they are legit, you can't help everybody. My suggestion is have a list of charities that you personally feel passionate about and donate to those. And then when people ask you for donations, say, unfortunately, I have a set number of charities that I donate to every year. I already have filled out what charities I'll be donating to this year. I will keep you in consideration for next year if you are still running your charity. But like these little random raffles, my girls' night out club, our Boggle night club is having a giveaway raffle and it would be great exposure for your brand. No, it won't.
You can't pay me I'm a musician. Getting paid for exposure is the most trash thing in any industry. You don't get paid for exposure. You get paid to get paid.
I can't wait to pay my bills with exposure.
Getting paid for exposure is what you do on like CBS, CNN, Fox News. Like if you get invited onto a talk show, that's paid exposure. Not here's this group of drunk women drinking margaritas at a girl's night out. That's not exposure. No one there's gonna buy your frickin' jewelry. It's a waste of your time.
Yeah.
You don't have to accommodate everything, and you don't have to continually accommodate, especially if you go into charities and then they harass you after that. because we get harassed quite often. Who is it that keeps sending us frickin' St. Jude's?
St.
And the thing
Jude's.
is, St. Jude's does a lot of good work, but they send us mail like on an almost daily basis.
St. Jude's, bless them. We did the Christmas charity for them, but now they call me like every week and ask me to donate more. And I'm like, I'm going to.
But they're harassing us. Straight up harassing
I'm
us.
going to donate more, but I'm not I run these through my YouTube channel, so I'm not going to set up a monthly, donation, because I do them in big bulk lots of money through my YouTube channel. It's just a big thing. So anyway, I love St. Jude. We're still donating to them. It's just, don't feel like you have to answer every single email or message that you get asking for donations is the point.
Johnny said St. Jude's is why I never have to buy return labels.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah, we do. They do send us return labels. That's pretty neat.
They do send a lot of return labels. But I'm sure that for the average person, it's probably actually a really good way to market where they're constantly keeping in contact. It's just not ideal when we're recording and they're constantly calling me while I'm trying to record for the charity that I'm doing for them. But anyway, so that's it, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to fill the chat. We've got 45 minutes left. So ask us anything you want. If you have questions specifically about Handmade Alpha Academy, you can ask those as well.
Yep, feel free.
If you're new here or if you missed the beginning, Handmade Alpha Academy is my 9-module Etsy coaching program that's going to teach you A to Z how to build, market, and grow your Etsy shop step by step. It is for any stage of business. It doesn't matter what you sell, though I will say it's probably not ideal for vintage, just because, you
say it's not okay for vintage. We need to reword how you say that. There's one small part in the course that isn't for vintage.
Yeah. Product line launches are hard for vintage.
And SEO.
And SEO is hard for vintage. But, aside from that, you could probably still learn quite a bit. But either way, it's going to be opening from June 14th through the 24th. You don't have to take it in that time if you don't want to, because it is self-paced. You can start anytime you want, but we only have that 10-day enrollment window because it's just Mark and I, and we have a lot of students, and we need to make sure that we crowd control. There's like 2,000 people on the waiting list for it. So there's no limit on how many people can join during that period, but we do keep it tight. If you have questions about it, feel free to put those in the chat, or if you have questions about anything else, if you asked a question previously, we're not scrolling up, feel free to copy.
Feel free to copy, paste it down in. Please keep your questions as
specific as possible.
Specific. If it's I'm a new shop, can you help me? I sell this, can you help me? I just skip those because there's nothing I can really provide to you. We have an infinite channel worth of information that you can check out if you're new.
Yeah, there's no way to answer a question on how can I be successful.
We don't want to waste it. There's 307 people here. I don't want to waste everybody's time.
Yeah. So all right, give us some good ones.
Give some good ones.
Give us some good ones.
My Facebook.
I want some good ones.
So glad you aren't stopping St. Jude. No, I'm not. We're not going to stop donating to them. I'm just pointing out the fact that they like legitimately harass us. They send us. I don't know how they can afford to send out so much paper and then still say they don't have money, because they've got to be spending a fortune sending out.
Well, they are a massive charity. Like,
I know they are.
We are very happy to continue donating to them.
I just feel like there are more free avenues to contact people than sending 10 paper things a week.
Yeah,
it's such a waste of paper. Johnny said, what if it's yourself coming up with all the new things to make? Well, then tell yourself to quit.
Yeah, if it fits your brand, that's fine.
He's being a smart aleck. Like,
I know he is. Johnny's always he's always
just here for the fun.
He's always here to make our lives harder. We love you, Johnny, though. That's okay. You can make our lives hard. You have permission from us.
Yeah, Brenda, I've done that a couple I have done that. Made a couple extra requests. Now I'm stuck with inventory. I can't even sell marked way down. No, that's how it is.
Yep.
Sometimes when I get something sort of a custom, I give a customer quote that's very pricey and see what happens.
That's a great idea. Just see if they're willing to, because if they're serious about it on the quote, then they'll stick it out. And you could always, if you say, well, it didn't end up costing as much to make this as I thought it was, then, you could give them a discount. And then they'll be really excited.
Make them pay half up front for request items. We always made people pay for the cost of the materials.
Well, I always did full price. They had to pay full price before I started. I didn't always do that. I started out not doing that. But as I grew, it was like, yeah, you're going to pay for the whole thing.
POD, I can't brand the packaging. What about digital freebies that's niche related or sending a physical freebie separately? Does Etsy allow it, or is a nice digital thank you note enough? Any tips on that?
It's up to you. I wouldn't send them another physical
No.
product, but if you want to send them, like, for example, if you do,
excuse me.
if you're an artist and you do, art prints on like mugs or canvases through a POD company, but you want to send them like a digital art print that they can print at home of a different painting, I think that would be nice. You can't. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't think that there's any way that, that wouldn't be okay. It should be fine. You can't send them off of Etsy to like your website if you sell products there, because Etsy doesn't like that. But I don't see any problem in that.
When using the eRank checker tool, if I'm not showing up in the first 500 results, does this mean I need to ditch that keyword?
In the rank checker, it could, well, it just depends on when you put that keyword in there. You do need to give your keywords time, 60 to 90 days. If within 60 to 90 days, you're not ranking at all for that term, I dare say it might be okay to start tweaking with that term a little bit and see if you can, if you can do better. Maybe that term just isn't working for you. But make sure that you're giving that listing a little bit of time, because it does take time for you to kind of grow into that term. Etsy has to really recognize that, hey, this is what I want to be known for.
Why can't you sort on visibility anymore on eRank at active listings? It was so useful for me.
Oh, you should still be able to. That's a bug though. I think some users are, I think that this is what you're talking about. I believe that I saw a bug. Just to hit our little eRank support button when you're logged into eRank in the bottom right-hand corner, that'll pop up our chat and chat with one of our support members, and they can help you, because I do believe that we actually had a bug where some people weren't being able to sort, based on like the little triangles that you used to be able to hit. Is that what you're talking about? The little gray triangle that would sort for you? Yeah, I think that that's a bug that some users are experiencing.
Can Etsy suppress your entire shop? They banned my main selling item, service dog gear, and my business has been cut in half since January. Not quite sure what you're asking.
Can they suppress your entire shop? If you had a best-selling item that Etsy deactivated, that was probably how a majority of the traffic was finding your shop. So it's not that Etsy suppressing your shop, it's just the highway that was leading people to your shop as a whole has been cut. Though I'm not quite sure why service dog gear was being banned. That's kind of odd. I'm not sure why that product would be banned. I don't see anything wrong with that as long as you were making the products.
Just curious what tools you use for YouTube keyword research and competitor analytics. Well, we can't tell you our secrets.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's fine.
vidIQ, VIDIQ. vidIQ is what I use. I used to use TubeBuddy, but I like vidIQ more. It's a little price. It's not too bad. It's not. I can't remember how much it costs, but it's not too bad.
I'm having a hard time scheduling myself now that I have a shop set up. What's a good way to organize all the things to do? Setting up social media, SEO, adding new products, editing, etc.
Well, consider this. Everything needs to be done in steps, and you need to dedicate time to each of those, but separately. So the first thing that I would do is SEO needs to be first. Don't worry about your social media. Nail down SEO. Treat it like you're a class in school. Sit down and say, this week or for the next month, I'm only focusing on SEO, which, I've got the free Etsy SE Oodles toolbox down below. That is a step-by-step, like all the videos that I recommend in the exact order that you should watch them to do your SEO. That's down there if you need help with that. But, and it's free, but really it's about choosing the things in the order that they need to be completed. You can't really start marketing until your shop is done. So making sure that the store is done, which is going to be your branding, your SEO, your photos, that stuff needs to be done right away. Then you start branching off to social media. Just dedicate little chunks of time and don't try to do it all at once. Because if you're doing like, oh, I'm going to do SEO for an hour and then I'm going to do social media for an hour and then you're just going to confuse yourself and you're not going to make a lot of progress overall. So just kind of block out hours of your day. And then, however much time you think you need. I would say that for SEO, you probably only need a couple weeks to really, really get a good strategy down for yourself, as long as you're using good tools. And I've got all my free tools down below.
Are giveaways or other freebies not recommended to do, since you mentioned it doesn't bring future customers or exposure?
I didn't say that.
That's not what we said.
I didn't say that. I never said that giveaways or freebies don't bring future customers or exposure. I didn't say anything of the sort, and I can't even think of a time when I don't think
anyway.
I don't think that there was anything that I said even close to that. In fact, I'm big on giveaways, especially on social media platforms like Instagram. Running giveaways are a fantastic way to get exposure. As long as you're following the guidelines for each social media platform, because they're all going to have their own rules to follow. We actually, in Handmade Alpha Academy, I teach you how to use WooRise for giveaways. I used to recommend Rafflecopter, but it's kind of going to poop over the last few years.
Well, Facebook banned it for a hot minute, where you couldn't use Rafflecopter links on Facebook anymore.
No, it wasn't that. It was at Rafflecopter. They messed up how you could share things on Facebook. It was on Rafflecopter's end. But anyway, WooRise is a great one. But yeah, I totally recommend it.
Anyway, several people had elaborated on the service dog thing. Service dogs items are not allowed on Etsy anymore. They have banned service dog items.
Is that a new thing?
I'm kind of curious as to why they did that.
Does anybody have an official email that they could forward me?
Maybe because they're regulated. It would be in their policies if they're banned.
I just looked at their policies.
They can't ban something if it's not in their policies.
I just looked at their policies like 2 weeks ago. If anybody has anything official from Etsy, could you send it to me at Starla at handmadealphaacademy.com?
The thing is, this kind of stuff happens. They probably had somebody selling service dog gear that was cheap crap, and somebody's dog pulled out of a harness or something, and then they decided to ban it.
I still
illegal items promoting illegal activity, and highly regulated items.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming service dog stuff is highly regulated.
Yeah, let me know if you guys have anything official, like an email or an article or anything, because that's a new one that I haven't heard that one yet.
It's in the updated policies, and it's very subtle.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll double check then, because
that sucks.
I keep their policies like bookmarked.
I get it. I mean, if they're going to regulate service dogs, then it sucks for the Etsy sellers. Obviously, it sucks for you if you sell service dog stuff. But when you sell in an industry that's becoming more heavily regulated, especially with how many people abuse the service animal stuff, like, you can't really be surprised that happens. It's inevitable with anything like that.
How are you both doing?
I'm a little sore. We went to a rave on Wednesday night.
Rave on Wednesday.
She stands around like a wet noodle, so it didn't really bother her much, but I headbanged like a maniac. But then she did the yard work all day yesterday, so she's also sleepy. It takes a couple days to recover from a 5-hour long rave.
My allergies are bad. They're awful.
Could you picture me going to a rave? Do I look like that kind of person? I am that person.
I was going to say, I'll post videos if they don't believe it, because I got videos you dancing with your light up stick, twirling it in your
Yeah,
hand.
I'd rather you didn't.
With your glow sticks.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Product line launches should not be that hard. I have lots of ideas if you want to chat. Okay. I think they were talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
They likely went too far, since some of it can technically promote illegal activity, but vests themselves shouldn't have been banned. Items meant to be fraudulently deceive others about one's medical status are prohibited. This includes items such as fraudulent test results, item designating as an animal as a service animal.
Oh, so things that people could lie about, basically. They could
yeah, I could see that. I could see that, because it's real easy to just
stick a vest on your dog.
Stick a vest on your dog, and then it's rude to ask if your dog is actually a service animal. Because I actually see pretty frequently people that are out at malls and stuff with animals that are very clearly not trained to be service animals, that are up licking on people and jumping on people and acting all crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, E-Rank, if some of my products are showing up and they're spotted on Etsy and it's the same item over and over again, how can I get some of the others noticed? Is it the tags that are pulling it? So
spotted on Etsy is basically the same as the rank checker tool, where it's just telling you that the keywords that you want to be known for, those particular listings are doing really, really well. And it's totally normal to have a couple listings that do better than all the other ones, especially if it's for the same keyword. That's actually a good thing. It means that if somebody's typing in that keyword, they're more likely to see lots of your items as opposed to some of your competitors. So that is a really good thing. That's positive. I mean, the only spotted on Etsy is going based on your organic rank before personalization is applied, like we talked about previously with checking your rank. So with that being said, there are other things that you're not seeing behind the scenes that influence that, such as your listing quality scores. So often your rank is going to be higher on listings that sell more frequently, on your best sellers, because your rank actually will get better if that listing is selling, or if people are leaving good reviews when they've purchased. If people are positively interacting with that listing, it's going to help to increase your rank. So it is quite common to see some listings kind of saturate singular search terms, or to have, only a couple listings doing really, really great. It's kind of normal. The only advice I have is to start looking at the ones that in the rank checker are doing really bad, if they're like way back on page 20, for example, and just trying to better optimize them if they're not selling. But don't feel like you're doing anything wrong, because you're not going to be on page 1 for everything.
I used to sell chew necklaces, but Etsy deactivated the listings for violating their policies. But last week I got an Etsy email recommending a shop that only sells chew jewelry. Is it worthwhile to contact Etsy and ask about this?
You can. They're probably not going to give you a good answer, because when you message Etsy, you have to consider that you're getting probably like a support staff person who works from home, who
answers like 5,000 emails a day,
who doesn't really, and a lot of them don't even really know all of Etsy's policies front to back. They have like a little list of things that they can copy and paste from.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the support staff member that you get.
You can keep trying though.
Yeah, you can continue messaging them though. I would be messaging them all the time, asking them and, bugging them nonstop until I got a good answer.
Can I give a copyrighted miniature dollhouse book as a gift with a purchase? I'm not selling them.
Whatever you stick in your packages is totally up to you.
Yeah, as long as it's not like inappropriate or offensive, you should be fine putting whatever you want.
Yeah, and
in your packages.
When I first started selling on Etsy, I had this line of little like Mickey Mouse shaped keys that, I was like 19 when I started selling on Etsy. And I didn't know that I couldn't sell them because I saw other people selling things, Disney themed. And then when I found out that I couldn't, I removed them for sale. But I still had a bunch of them. So just for fun, I just tossed them in like as freebies. I put like little keychain rings on them and let people have them. And I'm giving it away. You're not profiting off of it, and you're not advertising that they're getting it. If you were saying, free with every purchase, get this, that is contributing to the sale. So you couldn't do that as a way to get the sale. But if it's just something that they open and they say, wow, this was a freebie in my order, that should be fine, because you're not profiting on it. You're just kind of tossing it in.
A customer recently left a 1-star review by accident. She left positive comments next to the 1-star, but was unable to change the stars to reflect the comments. Should I ask Etsy to remove? You can change your star rating, I think, once, right?
She should be able to remove it unless it's sat too long. Or if you've reacted to it, like commented on it, or responded to the review.
The thing is, if you have a message from them confirming that they did it by accident, you could probably message Etsy with a screenshot of that, and they can remove it. Because, obviously, like a 3-star review doesn't damage you, but a 2 and a 1-star does. So it would be best to try to get that removed if you can.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes Etsy's just they're butt heads.
Depends on who you get in support staff.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would, is it worth it? Yeah. Try, do your best, do everything you can to try to get it removed.
I've been selling Christmas ornaments during my Mother's Day sale, so I have listing new Christmas ornaments this week. Do you agree or disagree with me listing ornaments this early? Hard to say, really, but people do the Christmas in July thing, so.
You said I've been selling Christmas ornaments. Are they selling?
If they're selling, then I don't disagree with it.
If they're selling, list them. We see the first searches for Christmas on Etsy start in July. Which, I don't know if it's Christmas in July or if there are just some psychopaths who are ordering that early. I don't know who the heck is that motivated. I'm certainly not. I don't know if any of you are, but I'm not that person. But there are people who do that. There are people who shop early. So sure. If you're seeing people interested in them, yeah, go ahead.
On the keyword page on eRank, could you explain why products that rank higher on the top listings seem to always have lower views per day? That sounds coincidental.
Products that rank higher on the top listings seem to always have lower views per day. Are you looking specifically on the keyword tool on the listings, like the related listings from other sellers that populate on that page? Is that specifically what you're asking about? Your views don't really have any impact on your rank per se. It's more, your rank is based on your listing quality scores. It's based on, the relevancy of your keywords. It's based on a lot of different factors. There are 7 that we know about, and I include, a workshop on those in my free Etsy SEOodles toolbox. But I don't know if views are really going to have that much of an impact. I would assume that in terms of ranking, Etsy's more looking at those conversions, and how well that listing is actually resulting in sales.
I was getting daily sales or every other day sales for a few weeks. Then I got my first 3-star review and sale stopped cold. Coincidence? It is impossible to answer that, unfortunately.
3 stars is not a bad review.
3 stars is usually like average, meets, expectations. Maybe there was something wrong with the packaging. Maybe it showed up later than they expected, but nothing really wrong with the product. 3 star is an average review. It's a neutral review.
Yeah. So I dare say that this is a coincidence. I'll also say that I think that right now people just aren't spending as much time online. Like
the weather just now starting to get great. People are outside.
Like I said, I'm even looking at my competitors on YouTube, and nobody's getting YouTube views right now.
No, everybody's the like balance of views is about the same.
Yeah,
the spikes and drops are about the same between shops.
We did
channels
episode of the Friday Bean like 3 weeks ago, I think, where we talked about the summer slump. It's about to happen. Everything online is going to go dead for a couple weeks.
Happens to us.
Yeah, everything's going to go dead for a little while because people aren't really shopping that much. I dare say that one is a coincidence.
That's quite literally why we picked June as the launch for HAA, because it's a perfect time to be working on your shop when everything's dead.
Oh yeah, to prep in time for the holidays. We have so many sellers who join Handmade Alpha Academy in the summer and then just have amazing holiday product launches.
Yeah. June honestly is probably the best time to work on it, because usually the holiday season is the highest rate of sales for the year. Unless you have a summer industry, then obviously it's a little different.
Right, if you sell bikinis or something.
All right. And Johnny said it wasn't a smarty comment. He said, I have problems wanting to do everything. Man, I can't hardly tell when you come in, because half the time what you say is a smart butt comment, right?
Smart butt comment.
Smart butt comment. You got to be YouTube PC, right? But no, I understand that. You want to try to conquer everything that you can, and fighting yourself is a huge battle.
Yeah, just keep in mind that you don't have to sell everything that you like to make. I do things for fun as well. You can make things for yourself and for family. If it doesn't fit your audience, though, you don't have to sell everything that you're good at.
What do you think about the coupon Etsy offers to send to past customers? Is that something that works, or do you have other suggestions to repeat buyers? I would assume it works, or they wouldn't continue doing it.
Set it up. I mean, there's no risk. There's no bad that can come from setting it up. Does it work? I'm sure it works for some people. I'm sure, depending on industry, it doesn't work for others. It's only going to send to them if they've opted in for Etsy marketing. But yeah, I mean, I recommend setting up all of Etsy's coupons that they have, like on the back end, that you can do abandoned cart coupons, things like that. Set all that stuff up. As long as you have priced high enough that you can accommodate discounts, set all of those up. And if nobody uses them, that's okay. No biggie. I mean, it's just another way that can help.
Is it acceptable to add an image in your listing that sends someone to a landing page for email capture?
Yes, as long as that landing page doesn't also sell other products. I actually teach that in Handmade Alpha Academy. You could put a QR code on it. You could put a short link. You could put a bit.ly link. Yeah, that's totally fine. And Etsy even has a whole article about, email list marketing. They're totally fine with you having an email list.
I have several listings to create with new products, but I'm worried they won't take off because this is a slow burning time. Should I wait until buying time? Should I wait until August when there's more traffic to list any new products?
No, not necessarily. Yeah. Right. Here's the thing. 60 to 90 day window. Etsy's going to be gauging interactions. There are still shoppers. And if they're not listed, then nobody can buy them. Right. Like there are still shoppers right now. There's just not as many. But there are still millions of them. There's still millions of people shopping every single day. So yeah, I would say go ahead and get them listed. Just don't expect, phenomenal sales numbers until we start picking up. I would recommend using this time to start gaming up your social media marketing, though. You're not probably going to send a lot of customers during this time, but you can start building your follower count. That way, when shopping is top of mind, as the weather starts cooling down, more people are going to start thinking about you, and you're going to be, able to connect with those buyers during the summer. That way you can prime them to actually buy during the buying season. But there's no harm in listing those products now.
Currently just a creator account on Instagram, which I now also use for my Etsy because I felt my personality was my brand. Now I'm not sure if it's out of balance. When do I know that I need to open a new one?
It just depends on what you are posting there. A creator account and business account ultimately are kind of, they have the same perks, except creator accounts, you get more music, but I see people use them. There's no real difference in those two account types in terms of what you get. It really just depends on if you're being congruent in what you're posting, because Instagram has an algorithm and it's going to identify what you want to be known for based on topical congruency or consistency. If you are posting a picture of your dog, a picture of your breakfast, a picture of you at the grocery, a picture of one of your products, but then a picture of your kids. Instagram doesn't know what you want to be known for. Instagram is looking for clues in the keywords that you're using in your captions. And, hashtags to a smaller degree. Instagram isn't as big on hashtags as they used to be. TikTok is, but Instagram isn't. So are the topics cohesive? Because if not, you might be confusing out Instagram's algorithm to the point where they don't know who to recommend you to. So it really just depends.
Are there any apps to support a referral program for Etsy? Not sure what you're asking for.
Yeah, I know that Etsy had that like weird affiliate thing. Are they still doing that? Are they still doing that affiliate thing that they were doing? I paid so little attention to that I didn't even I brain dumped all the information about that. But I'm not quite sure. I would assume no. Because I've never heard of any type of referral program for Etsy aside from their affiliate thing. I just don't know if they're even still doing that. I'm going to assume that since they haven't talked about it, it didn't go good.
Johnny said, yeah, pretty sure you can still be an affiliate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Question, I've noticed more short titles on Etsy. Is Etsy wanting more short titles or listing lists? Still good SEO strategy.
They're both good, but there are these Etsy gurus right now who are saying, you have to use all 140 characters. No, you don't. And Etsy tells us that short descriptive titles are what buyers prefer. In terms of the algorithm doesn't care either way. It's just looking at keywords. It doesn't care how you've written them. So I recommend experimenting with both, but make sure you know why you're experimenting with both. Short titles, as long as you can be concise with the keywords you want to be known for, are good for buyers. Buyers, Etsy says that buyers prefer a short title because they look cleaner and it's not just a big keyword spewed, blah, blah, blah. Whereas keyword stuff titles, they're a little messier, they don't make a lot of sense. You can break them up to make them look a little nicer, but ultimately the algorithm is just looking at the keywords. They don't care how long that title is. They're not looking at that. I recommend trying both and seeing what works for you, because keyword success is only one thing that helps you to rank. It's relevancy. It's just one part of Etsy's algorithm that's going to rank you in search. There are 7 factors that we know about that Etsy tells us about, and probably a bunch of other ones that they don't tell us about. So experiment with both and see which one works for you, because different sellers are going to experience different things.
Benma says, is it normal that eRank shows views on a listing different than the one that Etsy shows?
Yep, because usually, especially if you are viewing it within that first 24 hours of a view, Etsy filters out bot views, bot traffic that you're getting within 24 hours. That can sometimes lead to incongruencies. If you're noticing that, there's always going to be slight incongruencies between the two, but that data does come directly from Etsy's API. So it's from Etsy that we are receiving that information. If you ever notice an incongruency that is more than, off by a couple views, that's when you want to maybe reach out to our support team at eRank to report the issue.
See if there's an inconsistency.
Yeah. But a lot of the time it's because Etsy filters out bot traffic within 24 hours. which is a good thing because you don't want to factor in fake views into your overall view counts.
Do you have other recommended small side incomes? I've tried a second shop, but I'm not getting anywhere with it yet. I'm looking into Redbubble or other opportunities that require not as much work.
Yeah, I've got a video about this.
We've got a view. I am always a huge proponent of mastering what you're currently working on first, and then when you run out of work to do, and you're just kind of waiting for the views and sales and things to come in, then start working on your second, because you don't want to be someone who's a master of none, right? You don't want to have all these little side incomes.
I dabble in all, but I master none of them.
Yeah, and I think it's best to put most of your focus into one. However, putting all your eggs in one basket is never a good thing. Even if you don't sell on it, if you're someone who doesn't sell on Etsy and you're just here watching for fun, I think you should always attempt to have side incomes and little small things. Stick on the legal side of things. Stay as consistent as you can. Make things as related as possible. That way you're not having to dip your brain into 15 different industries and blow your attention out all over the space.
So our active revenue streams right now are YouTube. We get ad revenue. Our course, Handmade Alpha Academy.
That's our primary income.
That's our primary. E-Rank. We both work as managers over at E-Rank.
Mm-hmm.
Redbubble. Etsy, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the other book websites that I sell on.
Yeah, they're like $5 a year, but it's
a Wix store for, collectively we made
it was
more.
All right.
I've got a Wix store that brings in a little bit here and there. Feel like there's more than that. I've got a lot of little trickles.
Got a lot of them.
Little tiny trickles. Amazon affiliate program.
Yeah.
That's another little trickle.
Gets us a couple bucks a month.
Mm-hmm. Little trickles. They add up, they're nice to dabble in. There's a lot of controversy going on with Redbubble right now. Like all the YouTubers are talking about it because their margins are doo-doo and you're not making very much money. Redbubble, I think I made like $180 last year on Redbubble. It's money I wouldn't have had, and I didn't even log in. I didn't add any new designs. I've just been letting it run with the same designs I uploaded forever ago, and they just perpetually sell. I don't have to do customer service. I don't have to do anything. It's just money that pops up in my bank account.
And you're all capable of doing that. You can start a blog website, stick ads on the side of it using Google Ads. Costs virtually nothing other than the cost of the website. And it'll probably, we could probably even run ads on the blog site we're working on the side of it, like
virtual assistant work.
You could nothing, doesn't bother anybody.
You could go work for, do a site like Upwork and hire out some virtual assistant work if you're good at something like photo editing or writing descriptions or copy or writing blogs.
If you've got a minor skill, somebody will pay you for it.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. So diversifying is great, but focus on your primary income first. Like, imagine if we sold HAA and it was like a half-built, half-crappy little thing that we were trying to sell while also doing all the other things we do to make money. Focus on your primary income first, and then when you run out of time, if you got a little bit of extra time and you want to try to make a little extra money, start studying how to make money in other avenues.
All right.
Yeah, no, definitely no get-rich schemes. Don't ever play into those.
Oh, yeah.
They're always fake.
Yeah.
What can I do about getting reviews on Etsy? Oh, boy. I've sent emails and no reviews. It's on digital files, so I'm just SOL until they decide to leave a review, or can I send another email reminder?
Okay, so let's start from the top. You can't email your customers on Etsy. You can't take their email address and email them.
Yeah, unless they personally ask you to do so.
Yeah, you can't do that. So don't email them. I'm assuming you mean you message them on Etsy. That's fine. Don't email them. Second thing, don't repeatedly message them and ask them for reviews. No. That's annoying, and it is not a good practice. Now, you'll have to adapt them because you're digital. So you'll need to change things up a little bit. My swipe files that are linked down below, they're included in the Etsy SEO toolbox that's down there. They're free, but you can also get them as a separate thing if you go to alphasugar.com. That 5-star customer service strategy that I always talk about, those are copy and paste messages that you send to customers throughout the transaction process. They comply with Etsy's terms of service, so you're not going to get in trouble for using them because they are tied to a transaction. I've already verified that they're okay to send, so you're not going to get in trouble. They basically, you send one after you've made a sale, thanking them for their order. And what you'll do is just cut out the ship message. So sale, ship, arrive, review, SSAR. Message them after the sale and thank them. Let them know how to do their download maybe. And then you get, skip the ship message because you're not shipping anything. Normally, you would tell them when their product shipped. But the arrive message, adapt that. Say, hey, it's been a couple days. Just wanted to make sure that you received your download, that you were able to download it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you enjoy your purchase, here is how you can leave a review. Don't tell them to leave a review. Don't ask them to leave a review. Say, in case you don't know how to leave a review, here is how to do it. Because a lot of times people just don't realize that they can, or they don't know how. That's a good way to give them a little nudge. Start using those swipe files. I guarantee that anybody in the chat who uses them will tell you how great they are. So, yeah.
And I think they elaborated, said somebody emailed me instead of messaging me via Etsy, and I responded via email. That's fine. If they email you first, that's consent. If they're emailing you asking something directly, then they're giving you consent to reply to them. You don't have to worry about that. Why am I being charged a transaction shipping fee when I don't use Etsy shipping? Sounds like you need to email Etsy and ask them why you're being charged that. We don't work for Etsy, so I can't tell you that.
Transaction shipping fee. I don't use Etsy shipping. You do, if you charge a shipping cost through Etsy, you will still have to pay the fee of the cumulative, sale of that product with the shipping, even if you're not using Etsy shipping labels. It's just something that you unfortunately have to factor in. Is that what you're asking? I did have somebody, I noticed that they asked how much Handmade Alpha Academy is, and I wanted to answer that so it doesn't feel like we're dodging it. Handmade Alpha Academy is $9.97 if you're on our email list. If not, it's $19.97.
We cut that off in December. Yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Oh, we're not doing the full price anymore?
Nope, I quit doing it in December.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. It's $9.97 or $199 a month for 6 months.
And there's a 30-day money back guarantee.
Yep, so. No questions asked. We're not like other course creators. I'm fully transparent with everything that we do.
Yep.
So if you have any questions about HA at all, as long as I can legally answer it, you can ask it here and I'll answer it.
Yeah, I don't think that we've ever had a question that we couldn't legally answer.
You never know. What is E-rank extension, or when E-rank extension? Yes.
Ooh, we're working on it. Sheesh. Sheesh. I have it. I have the E-rank extension. But I had a lot of critiques. So it's my fault that you don't have it yet, because I told Anthony that before we push this thing live, I want it to have this, this, and this.
Yes.
And he agreed. So it's coming, but it's my fault that it's not here yet.
Will Etsy have one-time use coupon option? I don't know.
No, probably not, because Etsy is really focused on, making the sales. But don't offer a coupon that you can't afford people to abuse, and be excited. If you set up like a one-time use coupon and they come back and use it over and over again, you're the one winning. You're the one making money. If you aren't profiting from that sale, your prices are too low or your discount is too steep. I had customers who they would take their you get this much off your first order, and they would just come back and use it again, and they thought that they were being sneaky. And some of those customers ended up spending like over $5,000 in my shop over the course of several years because they would always use that. And guess who won in the end? Me. So let them abuse it. It makes them, they feel special. So if they want to feel special, let them feel special.
Johnny said, I'm trying to think of what you can't legally answer. The only because I can't think of one either, but the only reason I say that is because I do value transparency to its entirety. However, the moment I say that I'll answer any question, somebody will ask me a question that I can't frickin' answer. So I've always said that just in case somebody asks something.
It'll happen someday.
It will, the moment I say I'll answer any question, they'll be like, yeah, here's this question.
What is your social security number?
Right. Like, dang it, you got me. Here it is. All right. Is it worth trying? Etsy ads. I couldn't do it for long, but thought it might be worth trying. We can't answer that. I mean, you just try it, and if it works for you, then good. If not, then it doesn't.
Yeah.
Etsy ads are kind of an anomaly.
Yeah, there's no way to predict. That's like saying, if I play, is it worth it to buy a lottery ticket? It could be.
Could be.
Could
be the best decision you've ever made in your entire life. Could be nothing.
Yeah. Etsy ads are a gamble. If you want to play the game, jump right in, start playing.
Who knows? What do you think of using the last photo spot to show more items available in my shop? Yeah, why not?
I love it. Yeah. Or things that pair well with the current product. If you're selling bracelets and you've got a pair of earrings that match it, say, check out my other listings to find something to match your bracelet.
Fern said, ask the babushka question. I still haven't found my babushka. Yep, that page. I just noticed when keyword researching, maybe the stores are bigger, get more views through advertising. Thanks. Very well could be.
Yeah, that's also a possibility. Or maybe they have big social media followings. You never know.
Can you change the coupon amount for the Etsy coupons? So the ones that Etsy recommends you send past customers, I think is what they're referring to.
Ooh.
I actually don't know that off the top of my head.
I can't remember. We have one set up, but I can't remember if you can change it. Has anybody set one up recently, or can anybody check real quick? I'm not sure offhand.
Can you speak to Etsy since you meet with them? We have never once met with Etsy, so I'm just
E-Rank meets with Etsy, not me.
We have never once spoken directly to someone at Etsy about anything. They're actually pretty hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, E-Rank has sat down with Etsy. I was not in that meeting, though.
We consider ourselves to be pretty high up in the Etsy influencer chain, and it's still pretty hard for us to get like when I sent them a message from my Handmade Alpha Academy support email, they sent me a swipe file. And then I had to remind them of who we were and the size of audience that was waiting for an answer. And then after 3 emails, I finally got a human reply.
Right.
So no, we don't speak to Etsy.
Yeah.
Anyway, about changing the default view to relevancy. When you click on a store within Etsy back to custom view, they remove 1/3 of all listings in relevancy and always seem to put my best designs on the last page.
No, so what you're describing is they're customizing the experience based on what the person clicked on. So if I go to your shop and you sell blankets, but you have 1 mug or, a couple 3 mugs in your shop, and I click on the mug listing, when I go back to your home, your actual main shop, it's going to show me more mugs. I understand what you're saying, but that's just kind of how Etsy tries to cater the experience. So I don't know if they would ever change that because they're trying to enhance the shopper experience.
Oh, and Susan had said, my thank you coupons are used a lot as well. That's why I was wondering if you could make them a one-time use.
Got it. Yeah, just make sure that you can accommodate that discount. Let them abuse it, though.
How many items do you recommend to add per day to a new shop? Is it better to add all at once? Or you probably heard that you need to add new listings to your shop every day, and that's a myth. It's entirely up to you when and how many listings that you add. I like adding them in bulk. Celebrating them as a launch or a collection is always a good way to go. Any way that you can bulk things together is usually best. There's probably nothing wrong if you say you make 25 items in a collection, releasing them in bulk batches of like 3 per day, building hype. Here's 2 of the 3 I'm going to release tomorrow. Big question mark over the middle product. Like there's so many cool ways that you can launch products. Just be innovative, do your own thing.
Yeah, but if you're not doing any social media marketing at all, just launch them all because you're
wasting your time if they're not selling if they're not in your shop.
Right. If they're not live for people to buy, then they're not selling, and it's going to take 60 to 90 days for you to start gaining traction on them anyway. So just get them listed. Nobody can buy them if they're not available. So if they're ready to go, then list them.
Is 9% visibility equal to 0 in E-Rank?
Is 9? Are you talking about your visibility score?
Don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Visibility score on E-Rank is the accumulative visibility from the time that you've actually published that listing. And it takes a long time to influence that score. A lot of people, there were like some Etsy coaches who said, you have to have 100% visibility score on all your listings. And Pam and I were both like, oh, we've never seen that ever. So I'm still not quite sure what you're asking, but it's kind of self-explanatory.
How do you create multiple product listings around a topic while being original in each title and tags like nursery? I would highly recommend going and watching one of our more recent SEO live streams or one of our more recent SEO videos, because that's hard to answer in a quick period of time.
You can use some of the same keywords over and over again. If it's a nurse shirt, then make sure it says nurse shirt. That's what you want to rank for. You're not going to compete with yourself. That's a myth as well. It's totally fine to use some of the same keywords, but I'm sure the design varies at least a little bit. There's something that makes the design different.
And it's okay to repeat some things between listings.
Yeah.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. How much time should you go by with no sales for a listing before you deactivate it?
Well, I wouldn't just deactivate it. I would assume that there's probably something that's causing it to
Sounds
not
like you
have
need
sales.
to work on it.
Yeah. I've got a video on how to make your listing sell, and it basically covers the exact order I would recommend, to take to revive a dead listing. Experiment with your thumbnails, experiment with your keywords, experiment with your pricing, experiment with running sales, experiment with social media. There's a lot of things that I would do before I say, this doesn't work, I'm deactivating it.
I use referral coupon codes with friends and family to see how much word of mouth it does. Is this okay with Etsy? I don't know.
Are they coupons? I mean, I would assume that they're fine if you're just using Etsy coupons. How you use them, I think, is up to you.
Did you guys scrap the idea of doing an alpha retreat? We actually are still discussing it. You got to consider that this is probably going to be a $10,000 to $20,000 expense out of pocket. We are going to charge.
Yeah, we have to.
But the majority of the expense is going to come out of pocket. So give us some time. We're thinking either next year or the following, it will be exclusive for students.
Yes.
But it'll probably be $1,000 or something similar. It needs to be not heavily accessible. Otherwise, it's something that too many people are going to sign up for, and we're not going to be able to do it. So it needs to be fair, but it is going to be a workshop. We actually just talked to, when we filed our taxes this year, we talked to our new accountant and asked what we could and couldn't do. So we got some legal things we got to figure out too. We got to get an attorney and some like liability release forms and it's a lot. So no, we have not scrapped it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. We're going to go somewhere neat. Yeah, it'll be neat. Keep an eye out, but it'll be exclusive for students.
All right. So we are at 1:31 on the dot. Did we have anything else
I don't think there were any HAA questions that were pressing. We're kind of at the end here.
Yeah, we try to stop at 1:30 on the dot.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you didn't end up getting your questions answered, we do these every Friday. I do live streams every Thursday over at eRank. If you want to hang out with us Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Me and Pam, we stream. We usually only have like 50 viewers over there, so we're able to get more questions in. But thanks so much for watching. Handmade Alpha Academy will be opening June 14th through the 24th. It's a 10-day enrollment window. There is a new video, a new testimonial video that if you go to joinhaa.com and watch that video, I'm so proud of it. It's our students that we did interviews for last June. I was able to compile them all together, and I just made like I turned into like a big, sad.
I posted it in the comments for you guys.
Yeah, big, sad, crying mess when I created the video, because I just listening to everybody's stories. It's super inspiring. But check that out if you have questions about HAA. That page will answer a lot of them. Sign up on that page if you want to get on the waiting list. It doesn't obligate you to buy the program, but it does mean that you get an email when we open in case you're worried that you're going to miss it. We've got a 30-day money-back guarantee on the program. You can
no questions asked. You can just email me, say you suck, give me a refund, and I will do it. I'll tell you suck too.
Yeah,
I'll give you a refund.
maybe don't tell us we suck. Don't hurt our feelings. But you're free if you have feedback. If when you join and you decide it's not for you, and you do have feedback, we won't ask you, but you're free to submit it if there's anything that we can do to improve.
Yeah, and if there's ever an issue, like if you disagree with something we say and you can unequivocally prove us wrong, we'll change the content to accommodate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've never had that happen, but we like the information to be accurate. Anyway.
Absolutely. We've got over 1,000 students in Handmade Alpha Academy. You guys get 12 months of eRank Pro included with your membership. That's normally $100.
We always forget to mention that.
I know. It's normally $120. You get Christina Nicole's Product Photography Essentials Workshop included with that. So, she's the photography coach I had on my channel a couple weeks ago. She is phenomenal, and you get a course from her when you join. You get annual access to our Alpha Holiday Boot Camp for the holiday season. That's a phone ringing.
It is a phone ringing.
That is, something you would normally have to pay for. Is it St. Jude for real?
It is St. Jude. Told you.
See what we mean? Always when we're live streaming, it never fails. You get so much, and some of the money from the Alpha Holiday Boot Camp that we run goes to St. Jude.
Goes to St. Jude, yeah.
Goes to St. Jude. But anyway, guys,
about getting their money.
Thanks so much for hanging out, guys. I have a happy Mother's Day on Sunday.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. I totally forgot.
To all of our alpha mamas, and we will see you next week.
By the way, I didn't forget. I bought her a massage, so don't think I'm a bad dad.
Oh yeah, he did.
We love you guys.
I don't get my massage till what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, but it's a good one.